Welcome to the XtextCasts. In this episode we will talk about output configurations. An output configuration is a kind of bridge between code generator and the file system. Each output configuration can be configured within the preferences. In the extent compiler preference page we see such output configuration. We can choose the directory the generated files goes in. We can set whether directory should be created if it doesn't exist. We can choose whether files should be overwritten or marked as derived, or when a clean build is triggered, whether files should be deleted or the whole directory should be deleted. Let's see how we can create and manage multiple output configurations for our own DSL. Let's create default XText project. The grammar of the default XText project accepts greetings with the name. Let's run the generator. And now let's go to the generator and just paste the code. The idea is that we generate an interface with a method for each greeting. And this is our interface greetings in the test package. This get generated with this generate method, and it generates a method for each greeting. And also, in order to support developers, we generate a greetings implementation file, greetings-impl, that generates a dummy implementation with all methods with dummy bodies. And currently this can be used just by copying and pasting this file and altering it, but it would be nice if we could allow developers to modify this file directly, and this file does not get overwritten each time we generate the code. So this is a perfect place where alternative configuration can be used. And if we take a look of the generate file method, then we see that the output configuration name can be provided here. Now let's define new output configuration. In order to do this, we have to implement IOutput configuration provider, and this is the default implementation. And as you can see, this is exactly the definition of the output configuration we saw in the preference page. Let's copy this implementation and paste it into our package, then rename the class and organize imports. Now we can copy the definition of the output configuration and alter it, and add it to the list. Now first we have to change the internal name of this output configuration, and I define a constant to do this, and I will choose the public for this one. Then we can provide the description. This could be something like read-only output folder, the path for the output directory, and this could be just the source folder, since we don't want to overwrite resources. And this is the next option. We say false to this. Then we could create output directory, but we definitely don't want to clean up derived resources or mark these resources as derived, so we can easily change the generated files into this source directory. Now we have to bind our new implementation. We go to the runtime module, and in the configure method we grab the binder and say bind IOutput configuration provider to my output configuration provider. in a singleton in order to save some memory. And now we go to the generator and we add here the name of our new output configuration as a second parameter. And now we should be done. Let's test it. Let's create a new Java project and call it just a test. Then add a file, greetings my DSL, and I say yes to add the XtextNature, and I add some greetings, hello Eclipse, hello world, and when I save it, we get a couple files generated. First, this source gen directory appears, and I add it to the source path, and now everything compiles. So we get our interface with the two methods, hello Eclipse, hello world, and we get the greetings impo, the implementation with those two methods. And now let's change this. So if you try to modify this, we get this warning that we try to edit a derived file, and here we can edit the file without any problems. So we say just hello Eclipse, and now let's go back to our DSL file and add another greeting and save it. And now we get the third method into our interface added, but the implementation stays as it was. So we have to use a quick fix to add the new method. Let's take a look of the MyDSL compiler preference page. Now we have here two output configurations, the standard one and the new one we just created with the correct default values. And if we take a look of the project properties, we can also see here under MyDSL compiler the same two output configurations that we can configure on the per project basis. I would like to make a final note at the end. With an Xtext you can define quick fixes, and with a quick fix you can provide almost the same behavior we did with an output configuration. But the quick fix is often a better way to go. Here we couldn't override greetings implementation to add new method. But with a quick fix you operate on the AMF model of the Java code, so you can analyze the situation and solve such problems, providing much better user experience. Thank you for watching XtextCasts. Go to the XtextCasts.org to get show notes, discussions and more episodes.